Hey, what's up? I'm Coaster Cat, aka Roller Coaster Rider, and why don't you do me a favor and subscribe so I can hit 1,000 subscribers by February 20th. Anyway, I'm Coaster Cat, and I'm here with...
Okay, hi.
Hey, and we're going to look back at 2017. Yeah, I know, we're only 21 days late. We're going to talk about, first of all, the new stuff that opened in 2017 that we experienced, and then both of us are going to talk about our favorite rides that we rode in 2017 that were new rides. We went to Mexico with a group where we went to Six Flags Mexico, La Feria, and what is that third one? Paramagico. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Paramagico.
But besides just the parks, we did go to ruins or the pyramids or whatever. So, and the city tour was kind of a bust, but
we also went to New York City, the New York City area where we got to go to Luna Park, Adventureland in Long Island. Then we went to Playland in Rye, New York.
Yep.
And then
we joined a group there too.
We also went to our home park, Six Flags Great America. And then we went to the UK. 1 second. I should have had this better planned.
That's okay.
It was La Feria. Where we went to Adventure Island in the UK, Gulliver's Milton Keynes?
We went to a couple Gullivers, didn't we?
Keynes. I have no idea how to say it, and I apologize. Flamingo Land, Lightwater Valley, Blackpool Pleasure Beach, Southport Pleasureland, Gulliver's Warrington, Alton Towers, Drayton Manor, Chessington, and Thorpe Park.
Wow. And that was in how many days?
I think we went to 11 parks in 7 days.
Woo!
So, this is going to be a two-parter, and maybe I'll put a timestamp somewhere, about the new for 2017 stuff that was new in 2017 that I experienced. Kay, no offense, you did not experience as much.
Oh, well.
It's her choice. Number 5, and I actually forgot that I had experienced this, but I'm glad that I remembered. Giant Drop of Doom VR at Six Flags Great America. They put VR on Giant Drop, which they even tried to put in a story where basically, I think I can spoil it, and if not, sorry. As you're going up, essentially the entire city is being taken over by giant spiders, and you're kind of having to bob your head around because your helmet is essentially your gun. And so you're trying to kill all the spiders as you're going up. And then when you're going down, it's essentially all of the spiders being killed, except for at the very end, where a giant spider, jumps up to, attack you like a jump scare. And I was like, whoa!
I don't like spiders and snakes.
I think I've done 2 VRs. I've done Demon VR, where it was Rage of the Gargoyles, and I've done this one. I like Demon VR a little bit better because you were able to shoot better, and I got a good score. In this, I had no idea how I was able to do anything, so not my favorite VR experience I've ever done. However, made my number 5.
Okay.
Are you gonna do a drum roll for the next one?
Come on, give me number 4.
Number 4, EFX 360, something both of us did. Six Flags attempt to kind of have a Blue Man show style thing. Not their best show that I've ever seen, but I'm just glad it wasn't the Acrobats. This had cool lights, it had techno music, it had rave music, it had smoke effects, it had it had soap effects, it had audience interaction, it had, and
those big balls.
Yeah, they had giant inflatable balls that you could hit people with.
No, you just You just hit it
Oh,
to keep it going.
I mean, accidentally hit someone with. That's what I meant.
You just keep hitting it to keep it going.
And they weren't little. They were like gigantic ones that were maybe like 8 or so feet tall.
Yeah, not all of them.
There were some that were.
Yes, there were some, but
that's
there
what
were
I
some
said.
others that were like beach ball size.
Yeah. I do like it. I kind of wish it. I don't know. Maybe if it had a little humor or something, and it wasn't.
I think it didn't have a flow. It was choppy between different.
It was
acts.
like what's cool, and then do this. What's cool? Do this. What's cool? Do this. And I think you only saw it once, right?
Yes, I only saw it once.
Some of those kind of
last night.
Some of those kind of cool was that those hosts, they would kind of switch them out. So they were like they weren't necessarily just the hosts of like, I don't know, Mike and Sarah. There would be like Sarah and Kelsey, or I imagine 2 dudes or something like that. So I do give them credit for that, and for it not being acrobats, I give them credit for, and for soaping a bunch of people, including JJ, which I don't think she was necessarily happy about that.
Yep.
That was good, and also, one improvement I would like to see them do is I would like to, or 2 things. One, don't shine the light in people's eyes. And I didn't understand that. Did you?
But it was just a light that, when you're at concerts,
Yeah.
and the light that goes around and it shines. So yeah, it's gonna get somebody in the eyes. So.
I also wish that the balls, instead of being from the back to the front, they were instead from the front to the back.
Yeah, because a lot of people were getting hit in the back not knowing what was coming when they first started coming out.
And a bunch of people were, they got it and they hit it, but they hit it like back. They didn't like keep it going all around. Number 3, which I'm guessing is not on Kay's 2017 list of stuff that she did, the Joker at Six Flags Great America. This was my first attempt, or this was my first experience of the SNS free spins, and I was extremely terrified.
What did you do at Magic Mountain?
That's an Intamin version.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And I had been told that the SNS free spins were more intense versions. So I was like, well, I'll probably be able to fit on rides because I'm going to probably puke this season like 20 times. To my glorious surprise, and maybe I just got terrible rides, I guess, if you want to call it that. I never quite got the 6 spins. I think I maybe got like 2 or 2.5 at most. I'm glad that I did not get sick. I'm glad that I was able to see correctly and speak after riding it, unlike the terrible Green Lantern.
Yeah, that one you got off of and you were like, okay, I'm done with the coasters for a little while today.
It's like, okay, I'm not gonna, I don't want to ride Batman. Can I go on Lex Luthor instead?
Yeah.
Which is a good ride. Maybe you should have ridden that, a 400-foot tall drop tower.
No. You should have said those were at Magic Mountain, just in case somebody didn't know.
Both were at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
There you
go. Except for Joker, which was at Great America.
Yep.
Okay, now it's time to hop, skip, and jump across the lake to the UK with 2 other rides that I got to experience that were pretty good, that were new. Number 2 is the Gruffalo River Ride. I have no idea what the Gruffalo is, and I had almost no idea what was going on during this ride. Someone needed to explain it to me afterwards, where it was essentially a mouse saying that Gruffalos don't exist, and then being chased by a Gruffalo, and then like being caught by a Gruffalo.
I guess.
I was very confused. I think I had heard rumors that they were going to turn it from, or before they picked the Gruffalo, it was supposed to be themed to Hotel Transylvania, which I think would have been hilarious and awesome. But, it's pretty good. Also, I think this is the first time either one of us saw an attraction with projection effects.
Probably.
Because there was a lot of glass that was being shown images and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Also, people said you don't get that wet, but you go across a gigantic fountain area which is left over from the Professor Burp's Bubble Works. I know all UK listeners. I feel your pain. I wish I could have written that. But yeah, it was just a bunch of fountains with lights, and it was really good. And I hate to put you under the bus, but you were like, Coaster Cat, don't ride this Gruffalo ride. Ride the coasters. Okay, fine, you can go, but I'm not gonna ride with you. Okay, I'll ride with you. And it turned out to be pretty fun.
Yep, it was okay.
And now,
Number 1.
Darren Brown's Ghost Train, Rage of the Demons, or Rage of the Demons. I'm not quite sure exactly what the premise of this was. I know that Darren Brown is a UK magician. I think the premise was, like, you weren't sure. The premise was you weren't supposed to know what's real and what's illusion. And you were wearing, like, these giant VR goggles. Okay, so I guess I rode 3 VR things.
Okay.
I would say that the cars are probably similar to the disaster cars that are at Universal Florida. Would you agree?
Yeah. So the train, you, instead of sitting facing front or back, you're facing the other side where there were other people sitting.
Yeah, it's essentially like a subway train. Then a bunch of stuff happens. You get out of the car, then you get into...
Supposedly the same car.
But it's different, so I don't know. Maybe you get into another car, I don't know. And then you come back and it's revealed, like, congratulations. You're back to where you began. You didn't move an inch. I know, terrible British accent, I'm sorry. But, and then, there's the Darren Brown gift shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say people should stick around?
It had some interesting things in it. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. One complaint I have about Darren Brown's Ghost Train, it puts through like 10 people at a time. It has very low capacity.
Yeah, but there were like 10 people in our car. There were other cars, weren't there?
It just seemed like it had really low capacity. And I guess I have to do an honorable mention. Capone's at Great America. It's not that the food was bad, it's just, why would this place not offer fries as a side? I don't understand that. Like, if you want to get pizza, or if you want to get one of their meatball sub sandwiches, last year you could get fries. At Primo's Pizza in Hometown Square, you can get fries. At all the places that serve pizza, you can get fries. At this one, you can't. I don't understand why. There, I've made my peace. And I won't bring it up again unless, well, okay, I'll probably bring it up again.
Would you also put an honorable mention for the food truck at Great America?
Oh! Okay. Okay.
Just a thought, because
you know what?
You did try it a couple times.
You know what? Take out Capone's. I'm putting in the food truck.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. That was kind of interesting, and they had interesting food too. And you tried a couple of things, right?
Yeah, I tried the
mac and cheese
hot dog and the mac and cheese cone witch or something.
Yep.
And I have to also put this as an honorable mention, even though I don't know if it was good or not. I have to put the Last Call Six Flags version of like a food and beer event. Yeah, I was sick and stuff happened, so let's leave it at that.
And hopefully they'll do it again and we can make it.
Yeah. Thanks for not showing up at No Coaster Con, so I couldn't ask that. Anyway, now we're going to get into our favorite new stuff that we did in 2017. This is our personal list. If you think these are terrible additions or terrible rides, or if you think they're just okay rides, or if you are angry that you didn't get to experience them, well, hopefully unlike Blackpool's Wild Mouse, you'll be able to experience them. Okay, I've done a lot of talking, so do you want to start with your number 10 and like you'll go
Well,
no
I don't have 10,
you'll go
so
10 and then you'll say yours, then I'll say mine, then we'll do number 9, back and forth like that, okay?
I only have 7 that I would like to mention just because my condition, I cannot ride a lot of coasters and things that whip you around and everything.
Mhm.
So, mine are going to be more like dark rides, trains, carousels, things like that. So,
Would EFX 360 be on your list?
I didn't put it on my list.
Well, you could put it on your list and that could get you to 10.
No, I only have 7. I would need 3.
Never mind.
Okay. So, do you want to do your
I'll
10, 9, 8, and then
I'll
we'll start in at 7?
I'll start at number 10 because chances are this might make your list too.
Okay.
Number 10, this could be considered more of an honorable mention because I only walked around both of these, but at number 10, I gotta go with the UK where Alton Towers and Blackpool had awesome cool things. So I'm going to put the Alton Towers roller coaster restaurant
Oh, yeah.
and the gift shop underneath the Aeroflyer or the aeroplane ride. If you've been to Disney's California Adventure, it's similar to the Golden Zephyr, except it's older. It's a plane ride that, like, goes around where it's on top of, like, a building. In that building, they have a gift shop, and in that gift shop, a section of it sells used wood from the wooden coasters, painted, as well as used parts, or I'm guessing old parts, from not only their current rides, like the steeplechase, probably the big one, other rides, but they also sell stuff from their defunct rides. There was I think, chain lift chassis or like a dog motor or something, or there was something from their former Space Invaders 2 coaster. So I'm putting both of those as a tie for number 10. I just walked around the Alton Towers Roller Coaster Restaurant because we were pressed for time, but that looked really cool and it exceeded my expectations. Just to see like all of the concept art, just to see a bunch of pictures, just to see construction.
Mm-hmm.
It looked so incredible and I wish the US would get that.
Yeah. The one thing going back to that store, it was almost like a feel of a boardwalk. So you had a ride above, and then you had shops and treats, because I think there was like coffee shop, ice cream, whatever.
Well,
so it was like a boardwalk type.
Well, when you're on 40 acres, you only have so much space.
Right. But it reminded me of like a boardwalk. So you had a gift shop and you had a coffee, you had candy or sweets or, whatever. So they used space wherever they could get it.
Mm-hmm. Or they removed the wild mouse. I'm sorry, I'm still angry. Anyway,
But Alton Towers is very big.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Okay.
some people with steps on our group, I think they said they walked, like, what, 2-3 miles?
Yep.
So, would any of those make your favorite new of 2017 list?
Well, I did go into that store quite a few times. I think I bought you something there or brought you back in to show you some of the stuff that was in there.
Yeah, you showed me stuff, but I don't think I bought anything because I didn't want to have to pay another $50 for luggage. Yeah, call me cheap. I don't care. It's the truth.
Okay, so I could make my list, but okay, what's your number 9?
Oh, I thought we were going to go back and forth.
I only have 7.
Okay.
So you have to work down.
Number 9, this is really silly. I'm putting Playland at Pleasureland Southport. It's essentially just like a climbing structure fort type of thing. But what made it cool was there were rolling bars like you'd experience in a funhouse. However, this one, it started at flat, but then it went down and it had a hill and then it went back up. So, and I had never seen that before in any kind of walkthrough thing. And then, of course, there's the weird thing about how there was a gator in the pool at the end.
Yeah, you had to walk on like either stones or tree stumps or something.
Yeah, there were tree stumps.
and it just kind of went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
I actually got at least I got that girl to do it as well.
Yep.
Why didn't you do it?
I wouldn't have been able to get through the playhouse.
You probably could have.
Yeah, maybe, but I didn't want to get stuck and get embarrassed.
Number 8.
Number 8.
The 3 haunted houses at Alton Towers.
No, no, no.
I realized not only how big of a wimp I am when it comes to haunted houses, but how wimpy the U.S. is, where there's a lot of stuff they can't do. I've talked before about how the third haunted house ended with a lady firing off a gun. I've talked ad nauseum about my opinion on that, so I'll just skip that part. But there were a lot of things like not only could they touch you, they touched your face. And I've said this joke before, but when they did that, and then I was like a few steps away, I was like, "Ha! Joke's on you! I have a cold." There were also a lot of strobe lights. There were not stuff they wouldn't allow in the U.S. Like there was, I will say for UK they had some actors that could do good Southern accents. Like you could be separated from your group, like go through secret passages or secret areas. There were things where you had to like crawl, where you had to like crouch. My friend that went through it with me, apparently they grabbed his ankle. There was a big dude in his underwear saying how you looked pretty, which I think most people would find that terrifying, wouldn't you, Kay?
Oh yeah.
There's also a lot of smoke. It was just extremely unique, and what made it even cooler was that you got to walk through the towers. The castle that it got its name for. So, because they touched my face, and because a guy in his underwear said I looked pretty, I'm putting that as number 8.
I think, okay, so you brought up some of those things.
Yeah, you had to do one of those, didn't you?
I did one. I did not like it. I exited right after it. But I do...
She's not a horror fan.
I do have to give the parks in England credit for Halloween theming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Like, especially the Alton Towers Hotel that we were at, where they themed the lobby to Halloween.
Yeah. It was overall a great experience. I didn't know how I was going to deal with it. But a lot of people there, unlike in the States they only let little kids get dressed up. There, everybody dresses up. Mm-hmm. It was like you couldn't tell who was working there and who wasn't. But I do have to give credit. We did get to do the Saw walkthrough during daylight hours.
Could that make your list?
That could make my list. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Do the drum roll.
Now we're at number 7.
Number 7, Valhalla at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Apparently there was some effect that was supposed to go, but it didn't. This is first of all, not only is it an extremely themed log flume, where you not only get blasted with cold air, you not only get blasted with hot air, you not only go near fire, but it was kind of like in, what was it, the 40s or 50s in the UK when we went. I know, smart idea to go on a water ride, but I had to.
Yeah, but you wore a rain jacket, didn't you?
I now realized
they talked about how wet you would get.
I now realized I shouldn't have worn that over my body. I should have worn it over my shoes.
Yeah.
Because my feet were so drenched, and I'm not one of those, as I call them, water ride wimps, where they're like, "Oh my god, I got splashed. I'm melting. Or I'm not one of those people where it's like, "Oh man, I got a little splash. Remove this ride. It's terrible. I'll never do it again."
Oh, there we go.
I know all water rides serve a purpose, but this ride needs better draining in the boats.
Yeah. Because everybody came out drenched.
Some cool parts were that you got to go backwards. You got to go inside the building and outside the building. It was incredibly themed and it was very detailed, and I'm like, wow. Like, I would say it's probably better. It might be maybe better themed, or maybe slightly less themed than Splash Mountain. It's better than the Timber Mountain log ride at Knott's. It's way more. It's more immersive and stuff. But yeah, if they had like better draining of the boats, I think it would make it a much better ride. But as it is, it's my number 7 new ride, so that's something.
Yep. My number 7 is...
Because you only did 7.
Yep. At Blackpool, Dora.
Okay.
I know it was an easy ride and probably big family or whatever, but you know what? I go for some of the easy rides.
Dora might make my list coming up.
Oh, it might.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay. That's good.
Do you want to describe it, or should I describe it later?
I think we'll let you describe it later.
Okay. Next up.
Number 6.
Number 6, we've got a tie. We have the Silver Mine at Gulliver's Magic Kingdom, MK.
Yeah, I put that as my number 4. But you had 10 and I only had 7.
And Cycle Soar at Flamingo Land.
Yeah. That was interesting.
The Silver Mine Dark Ride, if you listen to the loop, they talked about it. It's a Western themed dark ride, and something you need to know about the Gulliver's parks. Apparently, they're parks that adults can't go to. You have to be like accompanied with a kid or something. So what was hilarious, and we found it funny, was that in this ride where you're supposed to shoot at things even though there were no targets and they didn't keep score, which I'm like, why have the guns in the... Maybe that got budget cut or something.
Maybe.
It says twice in this dark ride in this kids park, "Get the hell out of here! Get the hell out of here!"
Which was a big surprise. It's like, this is a kids ride? Where'd they come up with that?
No, I'm like, this is a kids park? And the best I can say is that, well, I guess English is a little different over there.
Yep.
I want to see their kids programming now. But yeah, it was if it didn't have that, it would just be a forgettable dark ride, because we went on a lot and that would just make a whatever on the list. But because they swore, that made it hilarious and we were laughing. And then Cycle Soar, the best way I can describe it is it's a Dumbo ride. However, you're kind of sitting in 2 across bicycles.
I thought it was 1 across.
No, there were 2.
But you didn't ride with me.
Because you were worried that you were going to have to pedal at the same speed as me.
Oh, okay. So you had to pedal to go up or down.
Mm-hmm. And, because Kay was having, physicalness, shall we say?
Yeah.
I said, like, don't proceed on the side of caution, don't overexert yourself, and you liked that ride, didn't you?
It wasn't bad.
Do you know why you said you liked it?
I don't remember.
Because we were on buses, and that gave you a way to stretch your legs.
Ah.
What is your number 6?
Number 6. At Drayton Yogi Bear.
Okay. This spoiler alert, this is not on my list, so why don't you describe it? It's a 12-minute clip. It's a 12-minute clip show of the Yogi Bear movie.
Yeah, the one with them snatching picnic baskets.
Oh yeah, that Yogi Bear movie.
Was I not right?
No, I'm just saying that's what Yogi Bear does.
I know, but we had seen the movie before.
It was the live action CGI movie.
Yeah.
It showed him it showed him water skiing on one foot. It showed a lot of the 3D stuff. I don't know if there were necessarily water effects or air bits, which is something I like personally. Did they have that?
Yes, they did.
Oh, okay, cool. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, you did pretty good.
Okay.
Da 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 da.
Say it.
We're at number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
Do you want to go first or should I?
Number 5, I put Hex, The Legend of the Towers at Alton Towers.
That had a lot of pre-shows.
Right. You stood for a while. After you guys did the 3
Haunted houses.
Then we decided, everybody was talking about Hex. And we're like, God, I hope we could sit down. And you stood.
I was hoping more than you because,
Yeah, because I did sit a little bit.
physicality reasons.
But you stood, and then you went into a room, and then you stood again, and you thought, well, maybe I'll get to the end it. No.
You need to go into another room.
Yeah.
It's like the Lord of the Rings, how it keeps having, like, you think it's over? Oh, no. Now you have to...
Movie.
Now you got this. It's like, okay, now we're getting in. No, you gotta see this. And it's like, oh. And, Kay hasn't seen this movie because if you didn't get it by now, she's not a fan of horror, so, they were kind of like parodying or doing like a knockoff of the Blair Witch Project, talking about how there were a bunch of like teens that went around in the towers and then they never returned, and this is their video footage.
Right. So it actually says that of the local legend of the chained oak tree, and it's set within the restored ruins of the tower.
And as a theme park fan, what was cool was that you got to hear John Wardley's voice.
Yep. I guess that's
He was also the guy who said, "Don't look down," at on Oblivion.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, points off for Oblivion because the "Don't Look Down" wasn't synced with the first drop anymore. Shame. So, is there anything else you want to say about Hex?
No, I think you did it.
Okay. For me, number 5, everyone roll your eyes. The Kiddie Coaster at Playland Park in Rye, New York. The Kiddie Wooden Coaster. I don't like to toot my own horn. Who am I kidding? I love to. And I put on Facebook in a post like it's one of those things that if you're a coaster enthusiast, you probably get these a lot. How many wooden coasters have you been on? And I commented and I was like, man, if a group announced that you guaranteed that adults would be able to ride the Kiddie Wooden Coaster, I would book a flight tomorrow.
Huh.
And then they announced it, and I had previously told Kay, it's like, okay, Kay, we're only doing 2 trips this year, Mexico and the UK. And then I was like, are you doing anything Friday in August? It's like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. So yeah, I'm glad I got to ride the Kiddie Wooden Coaster, and it was surprisingly good.
Yeah, a lot of people on that trip rode it over and over and over again.
And you might think I'm a wimp, but the turn before you do those final bumps back into the station, that turn is kind of intense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it has like 3 cars or something, the front, middle, and the end, and I got to ride it in all 3. I convinced some people to ride it in the back because I said you get a little pop of airtime just before you go back into the station, and they did, and they were like, wow, you were right. I was like, yeah, why would I lie to you about that?
I don't know, why would you?
But yeah, it's a very fun wooden coaster. I want to thank that group that allowed us. I want to thank Playland Park for allowing that, and I'm sure they probably made more than a few cents with that, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, we tried to spend money there, but
Yeah, they didn't have gluten-free options, and they didn't have most of their food places or gift shops open.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what the heck?
Yep, they had a chicken place, but
I can see why
you're
you're struggling financially if half your food places and gift shops aren't open. I can see why now.
Mm.
Now let's go on to number 4. Do you want to do your number 4 or should I? That's my number 1, so I don't want you to say that.
Okay, so I'm going to skip my number 4. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is the Joker at Six Flags Mexico.
Well, my number 4 was Silvermine Gulliver's, which we already discussed that. So we're going to skip some of these around.
That's your number 4? That's your number 4?
Gulliver? Or yes, Silvermine.
Man, get the hell out of here. That's the... That's that line.
Was in it.
That's a joke.
I know.
It's a joke. You get it, right?
Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
I think I just lost subscribers.
Let's go.
My number 4 is the Joker at Six Flags Mexico. Okay. Because Mexico, doesn't have... Sorry. Coaster Cat Jr. wanted to get involved, and kind of messed up my list. The Joker, because I guess Mexico doesn't have like I don't remember what it is, but because they don't have like American like legal things where it's like, hey, I tripped over my shoelaces, I'm suing you for $10 billion. Because I think I guess the restrictions are a little looser. OSHA, that's what I was thinking about. Occupational Safety Hazard Association, I think that's what it stands for. Because they, I guess, don't have that as strong in Mexico, or the rules are different. This got to open with a funhouse that you walked through that included like a spinning thing, a spinning disc that you stood on. It had a bunch of like funhouse effects. It had floors that went forwards and backwards at different times, and they pulsed it, so they only allowed like 10 or so people, so as a result you could walk through it like a regular funhouse. Now, yes, I know Joker is a typical Gerstlauer spinning coaster, but because it was just the right amount of weight on one side, we spun around a lot, and not only was it smooth, but I have never laughed. I don't think I've ever laughed more on a coaster than I did on Joker at Six Flags Mexico. The ride is very well themed, which, okay, sidetrack. Why does Mexico get such great themed rides as opposed to the US? Yeah, the US has Justice League and an occasional dark ride or Superman ride here and there, but man, Mexico has so many cool themed attractions. Joker is incredibly themed. Superman, you actually walk through the Daily Planet, and they're so detailed. They even have in Clark Kent's office, they even have a trash can with trash in it. And I'm like, what the heck? There's even like a fake elevator door, and it's like, okay, why does Mexico get to have such great themed attractions, but the US doesn't? Is it like an OSHA thing? Is it just that of how people expect rides in Mexico? I don't understand, but that's all I have to say. Kay, do you have any questions about the Joker?
Not really. It just looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Some of, what I saw in the front when the ride would just start.
Yeah, it would just spin around, and I think the cars are individually themed to DC villains. I think there was a Harley Quinn car. I rode that ride twice, just to experience that ride, and also to experience the cool funhouse as well.
Well, and wasn't there a haunted house right across from it, too?
Yeah, that was upcharged, so in my world it doesn't exist.
Oh.
Moving on. Number 3. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is on your list, so higher up. So we'll skip my number 3 then.
Okay. My number 3 is Dora's World Voyage.
Okay. At
Um,
Blackpool.
the way I would describe it is you take cars kind of like River Rapids ride cars. You don't get wet, but you glide around, and it's kind of like a Dora slash Blackpool version of the Jungle Cruise. Except while as the Jungle Cruise has a skipper that, depending on if Disney executives are around, might either make a really clean show or a really hilarious show. This one has speakers built into the boat's roofs, and essentially you go through various sections. Like you go through, like, I think China, I think you go through like Russia, and it's Dora saying like, "Hey, how are you doing? Welcome to China. Can you say hello in Chinese?" Insert how you say hello in Chinese. "Now you do it. Say hello in Chinese. Swiper, no swiping. Swiper, no swiping." And I've never seen Dora the Explorer, but when I saw that this ride was like some outdoor boat ride, I was like, "Well, that looks interesting. I'll go on that." And I accidentally made a joke about it. And when I said it, everyone was like, "Ugh," and I was like, "Oh, dang it! I did say that." I said the ride was adorable.
Yes, you did.
And they were like, "Ha ha ha, Adora ride is adorable." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't mean to say that, but it is."
Yeah.
It's a kid Nickelodeon kids version of the Jungle Cruise, and it's pretty awesome. And no, they do not shoot a hippo. Or I mean, they shoot, they don't, there's no hippo. Number 2.
Number 2, the dark rides at Playland.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, those are pretty good.
Can you name them?
No.
Okay.
Let me look them up real quick.
Wasn't there also like a glass mirror maze that we went through?
Yeah.
And I think Flying Witch was one of them. There was also the Old Mill dark ride, which I wanted Kay to go on, but it was closed when we went, and it reopened. By the time it reopened, we had left because we were staying about an hour from the park.
Yep.
And I wanted to try, what was it, Carvel's ice cream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was close to where we were staying.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get a Fudgy the Whale, but I think it was like $30, and only I was going to eat it because Kate was not in the mood for ice cream.
No, but it was a little bit big.
Yes, but now I know what I want for my birthday. No pressure.
Yep.
So yeah, we went on a bunch of dark rides at Playland, which is good because Playland has like all those wacky style, probably would not be allowed nowadays, dark rides. And now let's do the number 1 together. Ready? 3, 2.
Well, it's your number 1. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Let's do my number 1 and your number 4.
No. Oh. Silvermine? No. We already did Silvermine.
You're this one?
Yeah.
Let's do probably our favorite dark ride in the UK at the same time. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Adventureville at Adventure Island, UK.
Yep.
This was a weird dark ride, to say the least. First of all, you're on track kind of like a junior roller coaster, so I was thinking, maybe if I cared, I could say this is a coaster.
Well, and being a dark ride, you saw what was coming up, and you saw the other sides and stuff. I think it was done this way so little kids wouldn't get too scared or whatever. But
the ride, yeah, we're gonna spoil it, so caution, listeners. The ride starts essentially like you're going, like it's just a kind of like children cartoonish style dark ride where it's just like whimsy and fantasy and space. Like, it has no real theme. It's just, like, cartoony and kid-friendly.
Yep.
And I was thinking, and when we got back into the station, I was like, well, that was kind of dumb. I mean, it was okay, but it was kind of dumb. But then you go through it again, and then they turn off the lights, and they play, like, rave and techno music with strobe lights over all of the effects, and I was like, okay. And along the way, there's a lot of visual gags, there's a lot of things, wasn't there something about apples going on a Ferris wheel at the end, or something? Like, we rode it 2 or 3 times because there was no way you could have seen everything the first time you rode it. Plus, it didn't have a line, so that also encouraged it. Plus, it was a little cold and it was warm in there, so that's another reason. Do you have an honorable mention? Because I do.
The Derby ride at Playland.
The Derby Racer.
Derby Racer at Playland, Rye, New York.
I rode it, when did I last go to New York? 2007, or first time, I think no, not in 2007, maybe 2010, I think I rode that. I think they might have increased the speed, and it was really funny, or it was really fun. You had a wonderful experience on it, didn't you?
Yeah, trying to get on that horse and get off of that horse. Woo!
And also about how I think I had forgotten, but the horses moved back and forth. And we had done the Cedar Downs Racing Derby at Cedar Point, but that one had, like, really slowed down. This one is, in my opinion, the best of the 3 Derby racers.
Right, you really leaned to the left. I mean, really.
And I did like how, well,
the ride attendant.
Yeah, I think I asked him, like, hey, can you, like, jump on and off the carousel?
Yeah.
Like I saw in that Rick Seebeck documentary, and he was like, okay.
Yeah, he did pretty good.
Like, he was just leaning like it was nothing. So, yeah.
I did want to... Oh, wait. What was your number 1, your honorable?
My honorable mention, get ready, because you're going to have to collect all the names that I'm going to drop. I got to meet Online Hyde. I got to meet Roxceratops. I got to meet Drew the Intern. I got to meet his, very nice wife, Lucy. I got to meet Dan the T-shirt guy. That's my terrible Dan the T-shirt guy impression. I feel weird calling her, crazy, so I'm gonna say I got to meet Cool Aunt Sue.
Yeah.
And I got to meet, Ranger. Also from In the Loop. So I got to meet a lot of these people. I've listened to them either through their own podcast or on podcasts, and I consider these people kind of like the Hyde was actually kind of like amazed when I said you're like a B plus list celebrity or something, and he was like, okay fine, I'll take B plus. That's my very terrible Hyde impression because I'm sick. But yeah, I got to meet Drew the Intern. I got to meet Lucy. I got to meet Ranger. Then I think I annoyed him a little too much. So I got to meet all of these people that were like my heroes.
I think my honorable mention would be the park staff in England. When we got to certain...
I thought it was the smoking policy at Thorpe Park.
No, I don't like that. But the staff was so... I mean, they were excited. People from the U.S. were coming.
Some of... No, that was just at Adventure Island.
I thought we had 2 parks that they were kind of excited that we were at.
Adventure Island was the one that really stood out that they were excited.
Oh my god. High fives and... Like, woo! Yay! Thank you!
And
very,
Drew...
very happy.
And Drew said this on In the Loop. They were like, hey, where are you from? I'm from Texas. I've never met anyone from Texas before. Yeah. It was like, I like this park. Now I understand why it's considered one of the world's friendliest parks. I get it now.
But they were really, like, happy and fun.
Yeah.
And,
I think that was that the only park that we took a group... Well, also Blackpool. But that was the, I think that was they they wanted to take a picture of us to like show like, hey, see, people from the U.S. go here. Woohoo!
Yeah. And wasn't that our first park?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't have a problem with that park or with the itinerary, but I kind of wished we had done it. We had done the itinerary backwards, where we started at Thorpe and then we ended at Adventure Island with like the Adventureville Dark Ride, and like when we were really tired, all the employees like really excited and happy that we were there.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool. No offense to the people that set up the trip. I'm still very grateful and I'm very appreciative. But yeah. So tune in next time where we talk about what we're excited about doing in 2018.
Okay, catch you on the rebound.
Bye.